Hello, and welcome to the Networking Partners Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Jimmy Curtin. I'm founder and CEO of Next Level Sales Performance. We help companies accelerate their sales revenue and move to the next level. Today, I'd like to introduce my special guest. His name is Joe Barnes. Joe Barnes is with Securion. And Joe, if you would, please take a little time, introduce yourself, your background, and your company, and let us know about you.
So Jimmy, thanks first of all for inviting me on the show. I'm very excited to be here and it's good to see you. So my name is Joe Barnes. I live in Dallas, Texas. I've actually lived here for over 36 years, I realized, which is about how long I've been in technology sales, by the way. And a little bit about me, I'm from Iowa, and so I felt like I brought a set of Midwest values down here, and that has actually proven to be very valuable. What I mean by that is, if you don't know, people from Iowa are pretty straight up, and they don't really like a lot of monkey business. They just want to know, what do you got, and what can it do for me? And I think that's helped me a lot in my own career. The company I'm with is Securion. Securion is a cybersecurity consulting firm. Now, there's a lot of companies that have that type of name. What really makes our company a little bit special is we're headquartered out of Chicago. The founders actually started the company about 8 years ago, although each of the two principals had actually had their own companies for about 15 years apiece prior to that. So there's a pretty long legacy and a lot of good customer relationships that they brought together. And what just made them decide to bring the company together and join forces is they each have really kind of complementary skills, and that made it kind of interesting. And I'll even have to just mention this. One of the founders, I would say, is a very technical, very outgoing, and almost vivacious person. He's who I usually bring on calls to take business to the next level when we're maybe have an interested prospect. The other fellow, on the other hand, is a quiet, soft-spoken fellow. His name is John, and he's actually originally a scientist. But I will tell you, he's probably one of the strongest problem solvers, and I've been in this kind of business a long time, that I've ever met. And so the combination of really smart technical, along with someone that can look at just about any problem and really see through what is often our blind spots of customers, is really where this is a powerful combination. And that's why I joined this company. Our skill set is pretty much the whole laundry list of what you would expect from a cybersecurity firm. But if you want me to, I can say there's a few things in particular that we really excel at. And I'll just get a little technical, but not too much. One is in the whole area of what's called identity and access management. That's a very big technology area when it comes to security, and there's an awful lot of need for strong expertise to better integrate and connect a lot of the disparate technologies in that area. And most any company usually struggles with doing an excellent job of that. They do an okay job, or not even maybe an okay job. The second is in the area around what is basically known as cloud security. You hear that a lot, but I will tell you what makes us different again is we can see through the obvious things that people need to put in place when they're moving some or all of their environment into the cloud, and be able to make it so that it becomes a business value to them rather than just shifting technical resources from in-house to the cloud. That's just how I'll say it. And then thirdly, we are very good at being able to provide just the right level of expertise. We have in the neighborhood of about 100 consultants available, and all of these people are very experienced and very strong in just about any technology or problem that would present itself in the cybersecurity space. So what I mean by this is, a lot of times companies say, I've got a team, we're working on the business, we've got a deadline, we've got a budget, and we don't think we're going to get it done because we just don't either have all the right skills or frankly even have enough forces to get the team through it. And so we often play a role of being able to say, why don't you let us just help you get to the finish line? Right. Otherwise, known as staff augmentation, but it's with a purpose that we really are able to help people, not just instead of hiring someone, but rather, there's a very big gap in the cybersecurity industry for jobs. There's probably in the neighborhood of estimates range anywhere from 1 to 2 million unfilled security jobs.
Wow.
That isn't going to go anytime soon. So this is a very big business to be in.
Right. Sounds like a big demand. Very cool.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you, Joe, in business, how do you define integrity?
Well, that's a great question. I'll start by saying this. I feel like one of the reasons I've been able to continue to be successful, not only in this Dallas-Fort Worth area that I've made a living in and for a lot of years, but selling around the U.S. and around the world, is I'm always aware that our reputation follows us everywhere. Okay.
Right.
And it's always been important for me to be able to stop and pause whenever something that maybe doesn't seem so correct on integrity presents itself, even though I could make money on it or I could maybe gain some other type of recognition. But to answer your question, I'm very driven by the principle that what I'm here to do and what we are here to do is to help each other. And when I say it that way, if you take that attitude into any type of sales type of position, and the real driving principle is, am I helping or could I be of help to this customer? And by the way, if I can't, don't try to force it. Don't try to make it so that it looks like I can help or try to talk anyone into anything. I'm no good at that. I just know that. Okay. I've got to believe that I can really be of help to them. And by having that as a guiding principle, integrity just automatically comes through.
Right.
Because if I'm helping, I'm helping. And the biggest thing I'm not afraid of is to say, no, we don't do that, or that's not really something that we're interested in because it isn't a skill we have. Or just as importantly, hey, you know what? I may have someone that I can turn you on to that might be able to help you. They're better at this. Knowing darn well that at least at that moment, I'm going to just cost myself some money. And, I always find the money takes care of itself as long as you stay tied to integrity and tied to doing the best thing for customers. And time again, I've seen this for so many years, that always tends to come back around in ways that I never could have gotten if I would have gone ahead and, said, oh, well, I'll just kind of say, sure, we can do that and let it slip. That's not the way to do things. And I'm glad I have learned that, I guess, maybe from, my dad a long time ago when I was a little kid.
That's a great answer, Joe, and very, very true. Very true. So looking at your company, what's the real value proposition that you think your company sells or brings to the table?
Yeah, good question. So just let me talk about in the cybersecurity space, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of really great technologies that are out there. And since we mainly sell into the largest enterprises, that's really our sweet spot, frankly, because they have more complex environments. They are already all loaded up with what I call all the toys. The problem is optimizing, getting good value out of these expensive products, not only to acquire, but then to maintain, continue to pay licensing on, and so on. We are really good at going in and saying, let us either help you get the most out of what you have, or possibly, if not eliminate, at least maybe make sure that you're not overbuying, overspending. We don't necessarily go in with the ROI conversation, but it's a natural outcome of let's help you get the most value, customer, out of what you've already invested in. And that might be technology, it could be people, it could be process. And if we can help improve that and have them be more efficient and really not be, running around trying to make all these things work, they get a lot of value. So in effect, we pay for ourselves. I was just on a call this morning with my colleagues. There's a certain couple of technologies that the more you use, the more it costs you.
Right.
And clients just don't really realize. They look up one day and go, oh my gosh, it's kind of like back when we didn't have unlimited data on cell phones. I know I paid for a lot of those with my daughters, and I said, got to stop. Can't be doing this.
Right.
And it's kind of like that. And that still is a live situation going on in this industry in some cases. So again, better business value out of what they've already invested in. I will mention this, my company does not resell any products of any kind. We are purposely staying out of that so we never have a risk of looking like we have any sort of bias that we're trying to send them one direction or another, because maybe we get somehow or another we benefit from that. And I
Right.
tell people that up front, and they really, really appreciate it, because there aren't a lot of firms that are willing to do that, and if you will, leave the money on the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that approach. That certainly gives you some credibility when it comes to dealing with clients. So
It
that's
does.
great. So where do you see the sweet spot is for your company when it comes to business?
Sure. So as I mentioned a little bit, we are the most valuable to very large enterprises, several billion and up, or several thousand employees and up. And the reason for that is the complexity of what they have to solve just by sheer volume of numbers of things like users or systems, uh, make it very difficult for them to manage all the things they're trying to do in terms of cyber. The cybersecurity business is all about, we're in a war, and we're in a war that is not going to go away. In fact, any day of the week, just look at the news. It's
Right.
getting worse, not better. And that's another conversation for another day, why that is the case. However, uh, what I like to think we do really well is we will go after and we will accept the responsibility to help solve very messy, complex problems that, frankly, most firms will either say, we could do that, we do have the people, but it would be kind of a one-off, we may never do it again, and we don't really want to sidetrack ourselves. Our guys want that type of business. They want to take on, I like to call them the messy, complicated, nobody will touch it with a 10-foot pole type of problem. And they thrive on that because, again, going back to what I said earlier, solving the really complex problems that very few people out there will take a breath and take a good look at and have the knowledge to know how to solve is really where I think we stand out more than anything else.
Right. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
So, as you know, all of us, no matter what we do for a living, are involved in sales, right? And we see all of us in one fashion or another have to prospect. So, what do you see as one of your favorite tools that you use when it comes to prospecting for new clients?
Right. So, the days of thinking email is valuable are gone. There was a time, and you and I know about that, Jimmy,
Yeah.
when that was valuable. I heavily rely on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And the reason is, more than anything, um, what I believe is the case is a little messaging on a steady cadence, but not overdoing it with just about any level of person. Likely will get a response, likely will be looked at. And if you just take that as a baseline, they even pay attention and don't delete it before they even read it.
Right.
Because I know I do that. I get hundreds of emails a day from people that want to sell things to me. And when I had my own business, it was definitely the case. And so I know that's how it is. I've also engaged actually in my case, I decided to engage an outside firm just to help me with keeping the level of touches going at a very steady base. Because I know that's important to do. And I know me, I know that as a typical salesperson, once I have a couple of live things going on, that type of activity tends to go by the wayside. And then I look up months later and say, oops, I went right up. I mean, let's be honest, we all do that.
Yep.
Because if we're salespeople, we want to go after the money and we want to go after the deal that looks real,
That's
or the
right.
2 or the 10 or the 20. So I'm pleased that I've decided to do that, even though I'll even tell you this, I'm paying for it out of my own pocket as we speak, but it's worth it to me to help build a good book of business. And I think you have to look at a job like what I have. I have a lot of autonomy. My company said, they hired me because they know I've been around and this isn't dark hair. I've been doing this for a while.
Right.
And said, I look at this as my own business, that I operate that way, even though I do have a paycheck coming from someone else. But in the long run, I have to treat it as my own independent business, up to and including what do I have to invest in.
Sure.
And I will tell you that I'm well equipped with other tools. We use Salesforce. We use discover.org. We just got turned on to the latest Zoom Info tool, which I'm frankly still starting to figure out how to use, but it goes a little deeper
Right.
for downloading and all that. It looks pretty nifty. And there's other tools that are made available by my firm, which I appreciate that they give those to us and take care of those.
Right.
But end of the day, it's still on me. And I don't look to anybody to do that job for me. I appreciate getting the tools, but I also know I got to look at it from a holistic point of view and decide to look at right now, building and keeping a book of business moving forward is my primary objective with this particular company.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, sounds like a great plan and a great way to build your sales pipeline. So let me ask you another question, kind of similar to that, but a little bit different. So one of the things that we all struggle with is building and keeping that top of the mind awareness with our clients and our prospects. And so is there any favorite method that you have of doing that?
Yeah, what I feel, a couple things, and I'm going to lean on LinkedIn again because I think it's helped me. So if someone was to look at my profile, it tells the story about not only kind of who I am and what my background is. In my company, by the way, I'll even say we've chosen to call ourselves security evangelists, which I can say with a straight face,
Right.
even though I'm a sales guy and I don't want to shy away from that. But it's really how we see ourselves. That being said, now my profile, it gives a pretty broad description, a pretty detailed description of not only what the company's about, if you will, almost paint a picture from the website, but also a little bit about what I'm about and how I approach business. And then beyond that, in my industry anyway, in cybersecurity, there's so much going on that even the smartest people that take the time are really happy to have people get them updated and new information. There's a lot of events that happen, a lot of hacks and things like that.
Right.
So what I do is I very regularly find good information that is typically mostly third-party information, but it's leading edge, if you will, and I get that posted. I forward it again to, in my case, I do it for about 300 people every week or so, in addition to having it posted. Hey, this is an article I thought you'd be interested in. And what I find is people truly, from the responses I get, they truly appreciate that. Like, thanks, I will read this. And I've been very pleased to see that, in my case anyway, those articles I'm getting in the neighborhood of 150 to 400 views of each of those posts. And I think that's just because I'm starting to build, if you will, an online presence. Hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's on top of the market. He's on top of the latest and greatest challenges. Now, I'll say this also. There's been some things mentioned lately in the news about a couple of big things that have happened in cybersecurity. I'm not an ambulance chaser, and I don't want to be that kind of guy.
Right.
I'm aware of it. I'm available to talk to people about it and how we would solve the problem. But I'll leave that to others that's the best they got, and just stay above the fray, if you will.
Right.
Because I think our customers are smart enough to see right through that. And it's never been something that I've ever wanted to do or have done. And that comes from having a nice, steady, if you will, story. This is what we do, day or night, good times, bad times. We're available
Right.
to solve your problems. And,
Yeah.
and like I said, to help.
That's a great approach, Joe, because what that really does over a long period of time is it builds you into becoming the trusted advisor. And let's face it, in sales, particularly when you're dealing with an industry that you're in, which is highly competitive. I don't have to tell you that. It still comes down at the end of the day when a company is looking at two different solutions. It's still going to come down to, who do I trust? Who is my trusted advisor? Who have I built that relationship with? So those things that you're doing that you just talked about, those are great ways to do it, because it does build you into that, and it will pay off. So I'm glad to hear that. I really am. So let me ask you, how do you personally know when a salesperson's doing a really great job?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, first of all, I would say um, if they find something that seems to work, they continue to do that same thing, because it doesn't mean we don't adapt with the times, but um, I don't know about anyone else, but I have a temptation to always try the new thing on the block if I don't watch it. However, what am I doing that for? I should be sticking with, the last three times that someone did business with me, it was because this is a sequence I took them through. This is the patience that I had to give them time to absorb, right? And then I just think consistency and how we communicate with people, always realizing this more than anything else. Customers buy for their reasons, not our reasons.
Right.
And I learned that a long time ago from someone smarter than me, and it's helped me out so many times. Even when, I'll just say this, when I've been pressured to make them want to buy or something, I'm like, they're not ready. And this isn't the reason they would buy it, no matter how much we think our latest shiny gadget is the coolest thing in the world.
Right.
It's got to be because of them. Now, is it my job to adapt that, to get them to see that this could be of use to them? Sure. But also, I learned so many years ago when I was in a different industry, but it was all about phone calling all day long, every day, cold calling. You push for the no's until you get the yes. And every no means you're closer to a yes. And those are the kind of things I talk about that I never should forget, because they have always helped me. They've always helped me.
Right.
And don't take no as no, take it as I don't have enough information, or maybe later. Okay. Or no, go away. Don't ever call me again.
Right.
And I'll just leave them alone for a while.
Yeah, that's a great approach. Absolutely. Absolutely. Last question. So what would be your best advice for closing more business?
For closing more business,
Yep.
well, so I'm in a business that the sales are pretty complex. They're going to take months, if not longer. Not unusual at all for it to be a year or more before, from the time I contact someone to the time they buy, is when they finally buy. So when it comes to closing, all I can do is know that I'm taking all the actions that I'm in control of, and I'm making sure that the client, yes, keeps me in mind, but also is moving forward in terms of making a decision. In other words, I always try to end every call with what's next. And if you will, pinning them down. And if they can't give an answer, I'll just keep asking that question. Or maybe they're the wrong person. That can happen too.
Sure.
And that doesn't mean they have to be the top of the chain either. They could be someone in the middle. We all know about influencers and such, right?
Right.
But it is important to find a stakeholder that will stay with me, okay? And people move around, they certainly move around job to job. But at the end of the day, to close business, the only thing I know to do is I wouldn't say never give up, but I would say know when to give up. But I would also say, if it gets to a point where it's like, I've done all I know I can do,
Right.
and all I'm doing is, well, and I'll put it to you this way, ask for the sale, ask for the order. And as obvious as that sounds, a lot of salespeople don't want to do that. They're afraid they'll say no.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, get the no. The sooner I get a no out of them means I can get the next no and the next no. And I learned a long time ago, 3 no's means probably not no. That does mean no. But 2 doesn't. And 3 just means, well, what else do we have to do?
Yeah.
I haven't told you, but I'm about to, get a promotion. That kind of thing.
Right.
Happens all the time.
Yep.
And there's always something they're not telling us.
That's right.
Right.
That's very true. Yeah. That's a great answer to that question, Joe. And I really appreciate that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the doing the show with us. I know we appreciate it. I want to give you a chance to give your contact information right fast so people know how to get a hold of you. So go ahead and do that if you would.
Sure. So my email is joe.barnes, joe.barnes at securion.io. That's securion.io. Joe.barnes at securion.io. Website is securion.io.
That's super. Well, Joe, once again, thank you so much for doing the show, and we appreciate it. And go out and make it a great day, man.
Okay. Jimmy, thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it.
You bet. Thank you.